Let's see if I can record this voiceover in one go because my babies are awake and running around. So if you hear them in the background, but welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. I'm a stay-at-home mom to two toddlers that are 20 months apart. I live in the suburbs of DC with my toddlers and my husband. This is going to be another full day in my kitchen video. I really love these videos and I was looking back and I haven't filmed one in like almost 6 months. I was like, what's going on? So the first thing I did this morning was I fed my sourdough starter because I wanted to make some sourdough this day. I got back from the gym. That's why my little protein shake is here, the Koya protein shakes. If you do want to try Koya out, they have some fantastic flavors. If you want to try them out, you can use code NICK. I did end up putting a sweater on because I watched back what I was filming and the boobage was just a little bit much. I don't know why I thought I could wear this jumpsuit without a shirt underneath. The next thing I did after I fed my sourdough starter is I decided to do some ingredient prep, and that's what the bulk of this video is going to be, this version of a full day in my kitchen. I like to film these full days in the kitchen, but I like to make them each have a little bit of a theme, and you can go back. I have a playlist, so you can go back and look at the themes of the other ones. I have one that I was making food for my friends coming over. I have one that I was prepping food before leaving out of town with my husband, and my mom was going to stay with our kids. And then this one, the theme is ingredient prep. So I wanted to prep some food for myself for the week, and by ingredient prep I mean I'm prepping the separate ingredients rather than meal prep and doing a whole meal, just because I want to use the ingredients for different things. I decided to make some green beans and shrimp, and then I made some ground beef a little bit later. The shrimp and the green beans are super easy to make because they both just go in the oven. I use pretty simple seasonings because I like to add sauces and switch up the flavor that way. Oh, I also boiled some eggs. I think I might be a little bit allergic to eggs, if I'm being honest. I'm still trying to figure out, but every time I eat just eggs as is, a boiled egg or a scrambled egg, the next day I'm very bloated. And I don't know if it's in my mind and there's something else that's bloating me because I've never had that experience before, but for the past year I've been having that. So I don't know. I don't like being bloated. It's a little bit uncomfortable, as we all know, but if that's the only allergic quote unquote thing, I'll probably still eat eggs, just not that often. Anyway, when I boil eggs, I do a soft boil. I prefer that. I think it tastes much better than when the yolk is all chalky and fully cooked. So I do set a timer. Once the timer goes off, I put some cold water, and that makes the peel come off better. I took 2 of these eggs on the way to drop off my daughter at school and my husband at work because we just use one car right now, even though we have another car, but that's a whole story. Hi, sweet boy. My son just walked into the room, but the next thing I was ingredient prepping was some ground beef. You can see him in the video because Led loves his ground beef. He is a beef boy, and he knows I love my beef breakfast, so he gets excited about it, and he does eat probably half of the beef in my breakfast. And I should probably just start doubling the portion so that I'm still getting the protein that I want, but I just haven't. So I decided to prep this beef in patty form and temp it. I've been watching, it's bodybuilding season basically, and I've been watching a lot of bodybuilders, and I got this little tip from one of them just to make sure that the beef isn't super dry. It makes it even more moist than the strategy I was using before. I saved 3 of the patties, and then I made my beef breakfast like I spoke about with some of the green beans that I prepped earlier, and then I did these sweet potato fries that I get at Whole Foods, and then I put some of this ginger sweet chili sauce. I used to eat a meal similar to this when I was vegan. I would just do obviously plant-based meat with sweet potato, green beans, and a sweet and sour sauce, and I loved that meal. So I forgot that I really actually love a ginger sweet chili or a sweet and sour sauce on top of beef, sweet potatoes, and green beans. The next thing I made with my son, we made some banana bread because I had some ripe bananas. This is my mom's recipe. She does not measure when she makes banana bread, but I asked her a while ago to try and figure out the measurements. She sent them to me. I've been making her recipe, and I've been slowly reducing the sugar to kind of see how low I can bring the sugar, the added sugar, not the sugar from the bananas, how low I can bring the added sugar without the banana bread not tasting good still. Am I against sugar? Absolutely not. I love my sugar. If you know me, I love a sweet treat, but I do give my babies the banana bread for like breakfast, for a snack, for whatever. So if I can lower the sugar content, especially because you're gonna get sweetness from the bananas, especially if they're super, super ripe and like brown. If I can lower the added sugar content, that's better for me and especially for my kids. Well, you know what? For my kids and especially for me. Let's switch that because they're a little probably more active than I am and burning through those sugars. But yeah, my son helped me make the banana bread. He wants to do more and more by himself as the day goes on, but then he's also like very much, we call him a koala baby. He's always been like that. He always loves to be held, and it's so interesting how like you can raise your kids the same, and like it's a nature nurture debate, right? Like their personalities, their natural personalities will come out regardless of how you quote unquote nurture them, because my daughter was just never as like clingy. I think is people think it's a negative word. I don't think it's negative per se, but my daughter was just never that like koala baby, and my son is very much still like that, even though he's going to be 2 next month. He like just loves to be held. When he's in that mood, he just like wants to be next to you. He's a cuddly boy, and it's very, very sweet. I feel like I'm giving a little bit of boy mom, but I promise you I raised them the same. That is just his personality. I also did have to guess a little bit on the flour content because, as you can see, he spilled some when he was helping. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm not making it for like a baking contest. I'm just making it for at home. While the banana bread was in the oven, I got started on my starter. Not my starter. I got started on my sourdough, and as I said, my koala baby wanted to be held, and if he wants to be held, I'm gonna hold him because you know what? Let me not make you sad. I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so I decided to do my sourdough a little bit differently than I normally do it. Normally, I mix flour and water and salt and let the flour autolyse is what it's called. But this time I did the starter with water, mix that up until it's oh my goodness, a milky texture, which is I think what most people do, but that's just not how I learned to make sourdough. And then I added my flour after. This method was a little bit quicker because when I do the autolyse, I have to leave the flour and water and salt like mixed together for an hour or so. But this way I skipped that step. I let the dough sit, and then I did some stretch and folds. I think I only did like 3. I'm not very exact with my stretch and folds because it just doesn't make that much of a difference in my experience now that I've been making sourdough for what, 2-3 years now, I think. I only showed you one stretch and fold, and then now I'm showing you the final shaping. I do one shape and then let the bread bench rest, is what it's called, and then I do my final shaping. I let it proof for the final time in the fridge overnight and bake in the morning, which I am going to show you. The sourdough portion of this video is out of order. Like I was doing other things between the sourdough, but I was like, for consistency and for it to make more sense to you, I'm just going to put the footage back to back to back, and then we'll hop to the next thing. But just know sourdough is very easy to make, like ingredients wise. What is hard about it is that it is a full like day and a half process, and then just the technicalities. But once you get that down, it's really simple. I make like a loaf or 2 a week, and it's just not that difficult at all anymore. The last thing I made for this video, there are other things I made this day, but when I do these full day in the kitchen videos, I'm not showing every single thing I make in the kitchen. I like these videos because I'm showing things that I'm making to eat, and I'm showing things I'm also making for my family, so I feel like you're getting a more well-rounded like meal inspo rather than my just full day of eating videos, which I actually just posted before this one. So if you want to see that, you can hop to that video. But yes, for dinner, I made chicken thighs. I love chicken thighs. And this dinner in particular is so easy. Seasoning the chicken and all of that and cutting off like the extra bits took me 7 minutes. I know because I looked at the time from the camera filming. And then once the chicken is almost done, I pop it out of the oven, add broccoli, pop it back in the oven, you're done. Like the easiest thing. While the chicken's in the oven, I wash up, I do most of the dishes. Get yourself a thermometer, a meat thermometer. It just makes things a lot easier. You can eat it as is. I just eat it like this. You can also serve it with some rice, whatever other carb you want. I just do this, and then I do have my sweet treat at the end of the night. So I get my carbs that way. I'm not a no carb girly. And I never ever will be again, because I've done that way in the past and it's not fun. Not fun, at least for me. It might be fun for you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this full day in my kitchen video was helpful. Again, if you want to try the Koya protein shakes, you can use code NIK, N-I-K. I'll put it on the screen. And check out my other full day in my kitchen videos. If you like these type of videos, let me know and I can make more because I'm in the kitchen a lot. And I hope this video was helpful and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Bye.